Within the first couple days of Secret of the Mimic's launch, us speedrunners were already beating the game in under 4 minutes. But just a few weeks after, this video is a little bit late, what if I told you that runners aren't just beating the game in under 4 minutes, not even under 3, but in under 2 minutes. That's right, you can beat the game in just 1 minute. What once was a joke is now a reality, thanks to one of the most frame-perfect skips I've ever seen. But it's not just one run I want to talk about today, because 2 out of the 3 endings can actually be beaten in just 1 minute. The Clockout ending and the Parachute ending. This video will cover both speedruns. So here's how runners beat Secret of the Mimic in under 2 minutes. Twice. Enjoy. We'll start with the quicker run, and the one everyone already knows, the Parachute ending, which you normally get after getting the last security upgrade, using that to activate parachute.exe and heading down to the house, escaping the Mimic while the facility burns down. The ending itself triggers as we make it to our van, so how do we skip most of that? Well, I'll make it simple. We don't actually have to do any of that. The ending doesn't care what you've done as long as you've come to this fiery part of the escape. So as long as we run to the van from the fiery area of the escape, the ending will trigger. So all that means is we just have to get here. After running through the first bit of the game and waiting for this unskippable musical, we headed to this locker. Lockers are very cool in this game because the physics is very weird, and you can interact with the door separately, meaning we can get stuck inside the door. By crouching when you're stuck in it, the game will push Arnold up, allowing us to easily get on top of any locker. Then from here, we can deload the map by climbing on top of this crate and land here because this area is right below the hub. A very important thing to know is that by default, this area won't actually load quick enough, so Arnold will fall forever into the void. So, how do we fix this? Let me explain the importance of your frame rate in this game. Basically, the higher your frame rate is, the quicker things will deload and load in. But the game caps your frame rate to 60, which just isn't enough. Luckily though, there was an oversight. If you press F11, which forces programs in and out of full screen on Windows, it bypasses this limit. Very nice. After doing that skip and then running to the van, we were able to beat the game in just over 3 minutes. Now this might seem long, because at the time we had to wait through the welcome show, that unskippable musical. But not anymore, because wouldn't you believe it, there's a skip. Actually a few different skips, with the quickest one being incredibly hard. So here's the skip. By walking into this playground, it's possible to get upwarped to the top of it. I find it works better with an uncapped frame rate. From here, using F11 to bypass a small wall, and with a bit of crouch parkour, if you don't know, if you crouch mid-air, you launch forward a little bit. We can run along the fence to get all the way over here, outside the building, out of bounds. And here's where things get really tough. We're going to run through the wall while F11 spamming to bypass the collision. Once we've made it about this far, we're going to limit our frame rate to 30, so we have time to get into the right spot before the map begins to deload, and line up about here-ish. Then, as the world disappears, we pause buffer like hell. What we're trying to do is minimize the amount of time Arnold has to actually fall, while maximizing the amount of time the game has to load, because the game actually begins to load and unload right before the game actually continues, if that makes any sense. That's why in some of the best speedruns you might see, they just seem to pause buffer randomly. It's so that things load quicker relative to in-game time. If you're one of the lucky ones to actually get this skip, the entrance should load around you, with you either being in front of this door or in the hallway of the hub. And that right there is how we skip the hecking musical, saving a heck of a lot of time. Now there are actually different setups for this skip, some being more consistent than others, but this one is by far the quickest and the one you see in the world records. But yeah, from here, the run continues basically the same, allowing runners to get the parachute ending in just under 2 minutes. So, what about the Clockout ending? The run starts the exact same as the parachute ending, at least all the way up until we get to the main hub. If you've played through the game, you probably know that the Clockout ending is right on the other side of this garage door, which you're normally given access to after you give Dispatch your data diver. However, even though this room doesn't exist normally, the ending trigger is always there. By coming upstairs to this area, which is only accessible after turning on this generator, we can do a cool trick that allows us to walk along this fence. All you really have to do is spam crouch and left click while looking at the door lock thing. For some reason, spamming the data diver can clip you into the fence, and then crouching will push you upwards just like it did with the lockers. From here, we make a small jump and walk through this wall without collision to get on top of the hub. Yeah, it's that easy. And once you're on top of the hub, all you have to do is run to the ending trigger, which means we're able to end the run once again in under 2 minutes. Absolutely insane. With that, that's how Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic has been beaten in under 2 minutes, in 2 of its speedruns. 2 quite insane speedruns if you ask me, with some pretty cool skips. I don't even think it's a testament to how bad or buggy the game is. These skips were all things us runners had to go out of our way to find. While they are there, at least they're not happening during normal playthroughs. And I actually think I like it that way. Thank you Stillwolf for a great game. Well, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.